Okay, guys, we're Sunday today, and I think that I have something dandy for you guys, right? I'm gonna try to make it short because I've been trying to record this now for about 10 minutes. So you're gonna ask me, is it two? Is it three? Is it four? Is it 10 minutes? No, I've been trying to record this for to do this video for about like man 10 minutes because I like to do it in one take, right? I don't want to do and then start and then okay, whatever. Okay, so anyway, good Sunday to everyone, and I hope that you're getting all the love that you deserve from the people who love you and that you love them back. So all this pleasantry being through, then let's continue to the subject at hand. And I'm pretty sure that you want to know and that you're interested to know and try to assess with me if Benjamin Netanyahu that we see here actually knew ahead of time that something big like October 7th was going to happen, and that he just decided to let it happen and we know why, to annex Gaza and the West Bank, right? And we're not going to sugarcoat it. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted even without October 7th, we know that that's what he wanted to do. That's what the Likud wants to do, meaning annex Gaza and annex the West Bank. Now, did he saw October 7th as an opportunity to do it, right? And as soon as he knew that that's what they had in plan, let it happen. That's what we're going to try to assess. And how we're going to do that, basic. We're going to listen to the interview of Benjamin Netanyahu in the trigonometry with the trigonometry boys. I think that you guys do remember that interview, right? That's the interview that he gave when he was in that frisky, hippie happy podcast interview tour that brought him into different on different podcasts like the Net Boys, PDD podcast, and all these podcasts became legendary, right? As you know, not because of the good looks of the people who are answering question or asking question, but because of the softness, the kindness of those interviews, right? Because we know that anyway, all these guys, they're paid and they're organically in the same team, right? So you can imagine that no fastball in there might break up things. No butterfly balls, no breaking balls, no curve balls. Please just send softballs. So here we go. That's what it was. Now, guys, just listen very closely to the questions and even more closely to the answers because that's where we're going to find our answer, right? To know if Benjamin Netanyahu, aka Bibi, Prime Minister of Israel, knew ahead of time and decided to let it happen to so that he can have a chance to annex the West Bank and Gaza and have that opportunity of, how do you say that, of fulfilling his bloodlust by genociding the Palestinian people, ethnically cleansing them, and stealing and grabbing their land. That's what it is. So we're going to go, right? And we're going to listen to the Trigonometry Boys, right? And Bibi Netanyahu. Let's rock and roll, people.
And it's a strange question, perhaps, but does every man or woman who sits in your chair expect to get that phone call at some point?
Well, they should be ready for it. And it comes, what we call the red phone rings constantly. It rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. And my wife says, can't you let us sleep one night? And the answer is not many. There are these interruptions because Israel is a country unlike any other. It is still surrounded by enemies committed openly and sworn openly to its destruction. And therefore, it has to be vigilant and protecting itself constantly. And that's the first role of the Prime Minister of Israel.
Well, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, just to summarize, man, this guy is just telling us that, listen, we're a little country here. You see my thumb? Look, you see my thumb? And you don't see Israel. Israel is a small country, surrounded by monsters, barbarian, who just want to kill us. They want to eat us. They want to cut us out. They want to burn up, right? That's what they want to do if we give them the chance to do it. If we give them like one opportunity, they're going to exterminate us, right? So, the first job, before anything else, the first job, you need to understand this. The first job of a prime minister of Israel is the security, to make sure that those threats from those surrounding barbarian hordes are in check, that they're, prevented from happening. Because if a threat is not prevented from happening, it means the destruction of Israel. That's why the prime minister has to make sure that we address those threats. You got me, right? You do understand what I'm saying, and you do understand what he just said. He just said that his first priority is to make sure that those threats don't happen. And to be vigilant. Vigilant means we don't underestimate any threats. And we make sure that we dig to ensure that those threats do not materialize. You got me. You got me. I mean, English is not my first language, but I'm trying hard to make it clear for you, right? So that's what he's telling us here, and that is going to put us into context for the next piece. Let's rock and roll.
Prime Minister, can you, I know this might feel like a strange question, but I do think it's important, and it's a question many people are asking, is you clearly have incredible penetration of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran. You have incredible penetration of Hezbollah. I don't know how embedded your operatives were within Gaza and Hamas. How did your intelligence services not see this coming? I mean, you've talked often about the fact that the London Underground is smaller than the tunnel network in Gaza. How come you didn't know? And if you did, how come it was not a red flag that all of this was about to happen?
Well, all of that, I think, will be answered by this impartial investigation. But I think part of it was a mindset that said that Hamas is deterred and Hamas is not going to do it. And that.
So, guys, you heard what he said, right? You heard what he said. What he said, part of it is because we thought that Hamas was deterred. In the previous answer, he told us that the first job of the prime minister of Israel is to make sure that those threats don't happen. You know what? It's to make sure. It's not to assess and to think that okay, Hamas are deterred. They're trying to play in their head and try to read their mind to see if they actually want to do it. Man, they're next door. They're literally next door, right? And what you're telling us at one occasion, right? What you're telling us at one occasion is that, man, the first priority, my first priority as a prime minister, is to make sure that every threat that is identified does not materialize. And you're telling us that, okay, one of the reasons why October 7 happened is because you underestimated Hamas. Meaning that you received the information then, that you underestimated them, and that you thought that they were deterred, which is totally crazy. That's the first thing. That's the first thing, though, right? That's the first thing, though. It didn't quite answer totally the question that Constantine did ask him, because at the end of the day, guys, let's be real here. Constantine has no choice but to send some question, the first question itself, is hard. Not kind of hard, but kind of putting him supposed to put Netanyahu on the back foot, right? But we know that is the follow-up question that is not the most important, right? Because he's got everything that is already custom fit for the question that he's going to ask him at first, right? It's the second question that is going to put him off balance because he has no choice to ask that if he wants to be seen as some kind of a serious kind of journalist. That's what he say he is. So if he wants to see as that, he needs to ask some type of interesting question in there, and this is one of them that makes sense because a lot of people are asking this. But if he thinks that Netanyahu will answer his question, man, he must be dreaming somewhere in La La Land or something, right? So I'm telling you this. So the first thing that Netanyahu answers, first of all, is that okay, the reason why and all this stuff and all that and now la la la, boom. This is for the when they're going to be on investigation and a trial. So all of this out of the door, and the next step is to tell us that they underestimated Hamas, and it says that they didn't have the capacity, not even say that they didn't have the capability. They just say that they were deterred. So can you imagine that? He's not even telling us that they didn't have the capacity. He's telling us that he thought that they were deterred. Piece of that's all bull crap. You know that directly. It's bull crap. And the main thing in that question is to understand like how didn't you see like that they were building a tunnel like tunnels that are bigger than the London Underground metro. How come you didn't see that? And the question becomes even more interesting, or the answer becomes even more interesting, because first of all, he didn't answer it, right? But the question and the answer becomes even more interesting when you realize that these guys have actually, first of all, in terms of the Mossad, one of the strongest spy agency, as I understand, based on every information that is coming out of, let's say, the news, YouTube, mainstream, whatever. I mean, the Mossad is something to be reckoned with, right? And they tell us that they didn't know that the Palestinian who was building a tunnel, and when they control everything that's coming in, that's going out, that's the magnetic field and the water and all that stuff, and they didn't know that the Palestinians were building a tunnels as big as the London Underground, right? When the Mossad said that, oh, you know what? I saw these guys from the Mossad. Why do we always have something that is bugging us every time that we try to tape something? That's totally crazy, man. But I cannot take it because it's far over there. I have to get up and try to get it. So please bear with me. And it's going to stop by itself. So I'm pretty sure it already happened to you. So where was I? Where was I? So are we going to let it happen? Like no, okay. So yeah. So how come they didn't see it? I mean, the Mossad and they bust themselves. I saw actually another interview on Trigonometry of this Mossad guy like busting himself and saying that yeah, the Mossad is pretty good. We can we can infiltrate any gang, any this or any that, right? I mean, Gaza is just like next door, right here, man. And you got people that look like some of them look like Middle East. You actually can blackmail those guys. You listen to their conversation. You know what side they're going through. You know who they're talking to. So you can infiltrate. There's basically almost no reason why you wouldn't have noticed it. And I want you to listen to something, guys, when we're talking about Israel's security and how come they didn't see it happen, how come they didn't even even when it happened itself, the day it happened itself, the action itself of infiltrating Israel the same day, even if they didn't get the information, how come the information that they are being attacked took so long, right? And that they didn't see it, right? And that it took hours upon hours before there was a reaction. So I want you to listen to this, and you're going to recognize the guy who's actually talking about it, because this guy was a big advocate of Israel before, right? And after that, it started to shift a little bit, right? But as you can see, his shift, we can see the video is like from, I mean, this video maybe is like 1 month ago, but the interview itself is from a year ago. A year ago, right? So listen to this.
Mark, I put all those things out there.
Yeah.
How did these guys not know this was taking place?
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that's an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked.
You know what? Right now, he's trying to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the guy, though, because I'm trying to talk like freely, but it's kind of hard for me because I mean, his discourse is not his narratives and all his discourse and all that is not my cup of tea, right? But I find it hard. It's just that on a human basis, I kind of find it hard that man, I have to describe what he's saying. Sometimes terms are coming out, and man, it's I have to stop myself. Uh, okay, let's go.
Is there a stand down order?
So, because what he's saying is saying to us
Go
here,
so
like,
far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was
okay,
intelligence.
because right now he's telling us that I'm not going to go as far, but to be honest with you, this guy is saying, okay, from my guts, this is what happened, and he's asking question. He's asking question because really a year ago, he I'm pretty sure he was struggling with the thought that actually Netanyahu let it happen. Listen. That's my feeling about what he's saying here. So let's move back a little bit and
Mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
Bro, was there a stand down order? Like, I mean, guys, you need to realize that this interview happened a year ago. And the stand down order, more than a year ago, and the stand down order, we only knew, we've known about it about a couple months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago, by an IDF soldier, that there were actually a stand down order. And that's crazy. That's crazy than more than a year ago. That's one of the questions this guy was asking based on what he witnessed, based on the country that he visited, the military country that he visited. And that's the kind of, so listen, if he's asking that question, you need to understand that everybody else, except maybe the people that are living in Israel, because they think that they're living in a bubble, and they think that the way that they live is genuine, is correct, is okay. That's like everybody's living like that, right? But everybody else is asking that question, right? So let's go back to this.
Intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
Damn.
Was there a stand down order? 6 hours?
Twice.
I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. 6
Damn.
hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews.
6 hours.
Was
45
somebody
minutes.
in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question.
Non-partisan.
The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours.
Damn.
That's suspect.
It's also not like
That's suspect, Vinny. That's suspect. Little bi. Anyway, man, I used to love that guy, Vinny. I thought that at the beginning when they started to talk about that conflict, I used to love him because like he was the only one on that set that was giving a headache to Adams, asking those real hard, tough questions. That was going against the grain, against the wind, and fair enough, being good at it, like bringing out the USS Liberty and all that stuff. And at one point after that, it started to fold into that thing that I don't know what it that boneless thing that I don't know what it is anymore. I don't know. I used to respect the guy. I mean, he doesn't give a damn about my respect, but in any case, man, like the guy now is just like a carpet on which like PBD is walking on, Adam is walking on, and you see him like on the corner, like he doesn't say anything. He looks like a little baby, like a little kid, like waiting for mommy and daddy to say go, you can eat or stuff like that. It's sad, man. It's sad. Sorry, Vinny, but it's sad, man, because I had so much respect, right? Because I thought he was so genuine. He was talking the truth, right? But now, man, that's crazy, man. That's so when I hear it, he sounds suspect. What? You don't want to talk? You can talk shit. Otherwise, PBD is gonna give you a kick in the butt, and that's it.
And schools, and by
Sorry,
reports, 6 hours. Let's say it's
but it
3
is what it
hours.
is, Vinny.
That's suspect.
it's also
That
not like
that's
a
suspect.
right wing reporting. This is from the New York Times. The long
Thank
wait
you.
for help as
Look at
massacre
this.
unfolds in Israel. I
9
can't think of
hours.
a more liberal news outlet than the New York Times.
And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be very. I mean, so I'm not exact.
I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure.
Vinny, wait, oh, all right, don't get me wrong. I said, yeah, it's suspect, but you know what? Same thing here for Charlie at the time, right? It's pretty hot. I mean, this is a hot topic for those guys. They on a hot sit.
Position is clear here, but I would. So Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay?
Nice try, Charlie. That's nice. Really, to be honest with you, that's a nice try, but that's a little bit weak though, and a little bit late. Because at the beginning, if you notice, I mean, it gives all type of situation of context why Netanyahu would actually favor to let it happen, right? But he didn't say one of the strong things also he didn't say is that they wanted to annex the Gaza and the West Bank on top of that, right? And that it actually fit right into the ideology, the liquid ideology that Netanyahu is following. As simple as that. So it's just funny. It's just funny because it gives all the reason why, right? For sure they let it happen. Like, it's impossible that he went unnoticed because Israel is one of the most surveilled and militarized country, right? Netanyahu has had a trial coming up for impeachment or I don't know what. The country is a small country, 48 minutes to go from one side to the other. It took 6 hours for them to respond, and so on and so forth. And at the end, he said, "Oh well, you got you need to listen." So it was there a standout. So at the end, he tells us, "Okay, listen, I'm pro-Israel." And then you hear Vinny on the side. He doesn't want to be left alone. So he said, "Yeah, me too. I am." So don't worry, nobody's gonna hurt you, Vinny. You're on the right side, right? Yeah, that's what it is. And if you're not, be careful because you see Charlie Kirk. Well, you don't see him anymore. Much respect, right? Like I say, I'm saying that in all respect, and that's why it's hard for me to comment on. But he's telling us, and just remember, this happened like a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago. This interview, this is totally crazy. This is totally crazy. So let's come back. Let's go back here and listen to this chomp here. telling us his side of the story.
Prime Minister, can you? I know this might feel like a strange question, but I do think it's important. And it's a question many people are asking: is you clearly have incredible penetration of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard in Iran. You have incredible penetration of Hezbollah. I don't know how embedded your operatives were within Gaza and Hamas. How did your intelligence services not see this coming? I mean, you've talked often about the fact that the London Underground is smaller than the tunnel network in Gaza.
Well, that's the question,
How
boy.
come you didn't know? And if you did,
That's
how
the
come it was
question,
not
boy.
a red flag that all of this was about to happen?
Well, all of that I think will be answered by this impartial investigation. But I think
Of
part
course, impartial investigation. I mean, there's a word here that doesn't make sense in that phrase that he used, and that's impartial. By the next
it was a
investigation,
mindset that said that Hamas is deterred and Hamas is not going to do it.
okay, that Hamas is deterred and Hamas is not going to do it. So here we go. So an answer that doesn't make sense. And when we hear about the Charlie Kirk answer to Patrick Bet Davis, we know that even when it was occurring, even if they didn't see when they started to do it, which is will be very, very astonishing. When they started like going towards the wall, crossing the wall, flying their thing in the sky there, or taking their handmade drone to go blind the watchtower, they should have seen it. And once, even if they haven't seen this, right, when they went into the kibbutz, they received calls and all that, it shouldn't have taken them 6 hours to answer the call, right? Especially when your first duty as a prime minister is first of all not to deter, but to prevent all the threats, and second of all to have contingencies if the threat are actually inside the walls, right? So it is what it is. So now even something even more, right, is what the question that Constantine is going to, the third one that he's going to ask, and the answer that Netanyahu is going to give here. So let's listen to that last piece of art of an answer from Netanyahu,
which is meant to ultimately to conquer the West. That's what these people think. That's what they believe in. It's irrational. You say, how could you believe that? Can you believe that people would actually think we'd deliver death to America and we destroy Europe? No, they couldn't possibly mean that. Well, what do you think? Do you think they mean it or not?
Well, they keep chanting it, so I'm tempted to believe them, yes.
So when you believe them, exactly the point. When you believe them, then since I believed it, I think that what we had to do was ultimately take on Iran itself. And of course...
Okay, so now, I mean, we have to put this into a broader context, though. He's saying that people are saying things, right? And he's been hearing that Hamas wants to do that thing in Israel and all that, right? And where he says here, he says that when there's a threat, we need to believe it because we know that these guys are barbarian. They're ready to do anything and everything to destroy us, to kill us, to exterminate us all, right? And here, what he's telling us is that actually that's what he needs to do, right? That's what they need to do. Do you believe them? Then Constantine answers like a good little boy. But yes, sir, if they say it, it means that they mean it. So the teacher, the master says, okay, so if you believe it, okay, then I did believe it. Then if I did believe it, then I attacked. So why this didn't happen in October 7? So in October 7, while you had all the evidence that were there, that second of all, and we know now that there was a stand down order at one point, right? We already know it, right? So the two things. First of all, you should have known that they were building a tunnel because you were aware of everything, and that's my summary here. Because at the end of the day, now, based on all of these things that we just saw and that we just hear, whether it is from Constantine and from Bibi Netanyahu, or even from Charlie Kirk, I would say, and even more from Charlie Kirk, we can assess quite easily, right, and quite safely, to be honest, that they might have been that Netanyahu actually might have. There's a big chance that Netanyahu let it happen, right? If we were to ask, okay, what is the percentage of chance that he let it happen? Man, to be honest with you, I will go as high as 98%, right? And this is to be kind of nice to him, right? I will go 98% because everything leads to the same thing, like all the roads leads to Rome. That's the same thing here. Every question, every answer that he give lead us to believe that then how come October 7 happened? Right? Because you had, it's not like you didn't have any information. You had information that it was going to happen. But you decided to give us the phony answer that you thought Hamas, you were in the mindset. That's what he says. You know, he's putting the life of his citizens on his mindset. So he puts on his mindset, and his mindset told him that Hamas was deterred. He didn't go check, right? He didn't go check. And when it on top of that, when it happened, he delayed the reaction and intervention. That's what happened. So he put on his mindset and he said, yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the information. Put it there, move it out, like let me pass. And you know what? Hamas is deterred. They won't do it. Don't worry about that, right? Sleep well. Oh, by the way, yeah, the Nova Festival was due on the other side of town. You can bring it to close to Gaza, where they said that the attack is going to take place. Put it there. Put it there. No worries. I got my mindset on. In my mindset, we're strong. We're going to be victorious, right? That's what he said. Okay. And then October 7th happened. But as you can see, remember, even the guys like Charlie Kirk had his doubt. And when he say he has his doubt, you heard it very, very well, like me, that he had more than doubt. He had more than doubt. Let's just say that people were listening to that interview, and let's just say that at one point he felt the hit. Maybe it was his phone that was ringing in his pocket. But let's just say that he was hot at one point, and also Vinny had to follow. Right? One time he wanted to be brave when Charlie Kirk was brave, but when Charlie Kirk got back on track. I mean, Vinny got back on track whoa, speedy. Yeah, he had no choice, right? So that's what it is. So that's my conclusion on that. You guys let me know what you think about it, right? I mean, we don't have to agree on this, and man, we'll see because it's going to come out to light, obviously, right? So thank you very much for watching, and be safe. Have a great week, because tomorrow is Monday and we're getting back to work. So have a great week on Monday, and let me know what you think. And by the way, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share, right? Like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for listening, and talk to you guys later on. And again, my answer to me after following this is that 98% chance that he let it happen. So that would be my understanding going through all these question answers, and also the Charlie Kirk piece. Peace out, guys. Thank you very much. You take care of yourself. Bye bye.